Thank you for joining the Clarity and Purpose Show, where cause-driven business leaders share what you need to know to align your purpose and your team. They'll drop wisdom and knowledge about why they lead, what challenges they face, and how they remove the barriers that keep them from growing. Our guest today takes a holistic approach to performance and health. He and his business works through limiting beliefs and mindset shifts to unleash his clients' true potential. He has a passion for helping former athletes and anyone with an athletic background, and in return gaining fulfillment in daily life and are preparing at the level they know they can in all areas of life. Please join me and welcome Cory Camp. Cory, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
James, thanks for having me. I'm excited to jam out with you.
Yeah, man, it's been great. And you're over in the West Coast, and you're enjoying some beautiful weather we just talked about. I'm right in the middle, smack dab in the heat. But man, I'm just so glad you took some time out today to join us on Clarity and Purpose.
Yeah, of course. I was about to say it's getting hot out there, so an excuse to stay in the AC. Can't complain.
So tell me, we're going to jump right in, Cory. We've already kind of introduced you on the show, and we're going to talk a lot about like what you do and how you apply it. But at the core of what this show is what's your purpose and what's your why? So how would you describe that for yourself?
I feel like that's a constant evolving answer and question that has driven me crazy at times. I think the answer that I have right in this moment is I'm a creator and a connector at my core, and that's really what I've strived to do. And everything that I'm doing, whether it's showing up on a podcast, whether it's the podcast I host, or even just meeting a stranger on the street, it's like, how can I connect with someone or connect other people together? And all of us collectively grow through that, I think.
And you, even before the call, you're mentioning something, you did this morning, you bringing people together. So explain different ways that you do that.
Yeah, so I'm big into just conscious connection, being very intentional with setting up environments and spaces to do so. One of the ways I do it is through movement. I'm a former athlete myself. I'd say I'm a forever athlete. I swam through college, and I noticed when that was missing through my life, I didn't feel like myself. So I was lacking clarity and I was lacking purpose. So to fill that need, I was like, I'm going to get really into this myself, this health and fitness journey. And then I started to realize over time, like, I can't be the only one that is feeling this kind of way around this missing piece. So introducing, all right, we'll do a community workout on the beach, and we're just going to have fun with it. We're not going to make it like running sprints over and over and over again, giving us PTSD of like the bad times of sport. Like, let's make it as enjoyable as possible. Let's get out of our head for a second and really just drop into our body. And when we do that, we're able to then go through some quote unquote shared struggle, hard times. We're able to connect a little bit more. And I think overall, just consciously creating a space where people feel like they can just be fully open and honest. They don't have to feel like they're holding onto a card. I think that's what really kind of holds a lot of us back from connecting with other people. So we feel like there's going to be some judgment. There's some fear there of like, if I share this, I don't know how I'm going to be viewed. But if we can create a space where we can share open and honestly, that level of connection, that the depth behind it increases tenfold.
That's awesome. And what I love about this is you've gone all in and you've created a business around it. So explain what your business is and what you do.
Yeah, so Forever Athlete has a couple different verticals, but what it really is at its core is helping athletes of all different backgrounds find flow in all areas of their life. So improving their performance, not just physically on the field if they're still an active athlete and playing, but in their relationships, in their profession, whatever it may be. I'm a firm believer that flow helps increase our productivity, our focus, our creativity, all of these things. So the community pillar is integral to that. I want people to feel like they're on one team where we get this collective flow from that. And we miss that, right, from sports. Even being a swimmer, it's quote unquote an individual sport, but there was so much to that where I really connected with every single person that I swam against, where I swam with, if they were on my team. It's like, how can we recreate that? Awesome. The community pillar, that's going to be integral. And I want community, I think, should be something that is free. You know, it shouldn't be something that there's a barrier to entry to it. So making that part free access point, and then from there, it's the coaching side of things. If people want to really, really understand their specific flow formula and improve all areas of their life, I offer coaching services that really lend themselves into that. So the free community is one aspect, then the paid coaching is actually how I've made it into a business.
That's awesome. That's really great. So
appreciate it.
Knowing when we do these things, you're trying to fulfill your purpose within your job, which I love. I mean, I wish most people would just go after what their purpose is and make that into what they do on a daily basis. But so many times they don't. And we get caught climbing the ladder or trying to figure out a way to get on top when in reality you're not fulfilled. So with that, though, comes its challenges. So what are things that you run into that kind of oppose or challenges when trying to achieve your big why?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the biggest challenges is showing people the value in doing the work, right? Because anything in the personal development space or, self-work, it's a tough sell at times because it's not super, super tangible. It's not like I have an iPhone and I'm going to sell you this iPhone and then you pay me and then you receive an iPhone. It's like, no, you're going to pay. There's going to be this exchange of energy, exchange of finances involved. And on the other side of it, you're actually going to make more money to buy your own iPhone. I don't have to give you mine. So it's getting people to buy into it and see the value of it. I like to equate it oftentimes of so many of us are standing on the beach and we're looking out into the horizon and we're like, wow, I wonder what's out there. It looks really expansive and limitless. And we get this light feeling in our body that kind of overtakes it. It's like, man, we're living into all these possibilities that are out there. And then the difference in the people that make the jump and actually pursue those things and the people that stay at shore is how they view the waves that are standing in between where they currently are in that ever expansive, limitless feeling. The ones that actually go and make it happen, they understand that it's actually going to be harder at first. Yeah. They're going to go into the surf and they might get crushed by some waves, but if they keep moving forward, they know what lies on the other side of that. And it's very, very challenging to convince someone to say, hey, we're going to go into some hard work here, and it's going to feel really uncomfortable, and you might get salt water up your nose. But I promise you, on the other end of it, you'll be able to blow your nose, and you'll be living, in your true potential. You'll be living into your purpose. You'll have more clarity on what it is you want to do on a day-to-day life. And now you're this creator of your life rather than playing this victim card time and time again. So I think that is the biggest challenge, is just convincing people like, hey, let's go through this.
Yeah, no.
And offering them, let's do it together, you know?
I think people can see a short value there. Like it's an easy, like, oh, okay, yeah, I see that, but it's hard to see a long-term relationship. So specifically, what does that mean for you? Like if someone's coming to you for coaching, what would that look like?
Yeah, a lot of times the people that are coming to me are people that are just super burnt out. They're the high achiever. They come from the athletic background and now they're in some other field. Maybe they're a CEO, maybe they're an entrepreneur, maybe they're just, hold themselves to a high standard, and all of a sudden they're not meeting those expectations. They're not meeting that standard, and they've tried working harder and it hasn't seemed to work. So it's taking a step back and looking at it, big picture. All right, awesome. How do we actually manage our energy? Right. And sometimes it's as simple as, all right, what do you enjoy doing on a day-to-day basis? Let's build our schedule around that. Because when we then allow even just 5 minutes to ourselves, that can go a really, really long way. And how we're showing up in all these other areas, it's oftentimes that's the issue. Not that you hate your job and you need to quit it and, go pursue something different. It's like, well, what if you're just lacking that purpose and that excitement in your day-to-day life in another area? Let's introduce that. And then all of a sudden, a few months down the road, that job you once hated, you're feeling fulfilled in it. You enjoy it. So that's a lot of what I see is people that struggle to let go of control. They want to just work through things rather than work inward.
Wow. So let's go a little deeper with Cory. So
yeah,
this is my favorite question. When you get in the way, right, of what you try to accomplish. So how is it that Cory sometimes gets in the way of trying to fulfill your purpose?
Great question. A lot of it is I struggle with speaking into the wins and sharing the wins. And I think a lot of that comes from the athletic background of it's just kind of like, it was expected of me. It was my job to perform and to do it. So I'm humble to a fault at some point, especially when you're a startup, solopreneur coach. You need to be sharing the wins of the people. So I struggle a lot of how do we capture wins and how do we share wins while also still respecting the sacredness of that space that we've created. Because I never want someone to be like, oh, we're recording this to share on social media and to share to the world. So go do your thing and be as open and honest as possible. I think sometimes we hold stuff back knowing that it's going to be recorded and it's going to be played back. So finding that boundary, respecting that boundary is a constant struggle of mine, but we're working on it.
Are there things that you would say you put in place to help kind of move past that, or how do you work on that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I hired a coach of my own, actually multiple coaches last year, to really, one, in the mindset side of things, help me work through my own mental blocks and barriers. And then on the PR space, I hired a coach in that realm to help me get over and actually do the talking for me for a lot of the stuff, putting myself on shows or pitching myself to other various platforms, and then a business coach to help me work through the barriers in business. So realizing that, hey, look, I don't have all the answers. That's okay. Coach it. That's what coaches are for. And for whatever reason, I think athletes really, I know I struggled for a while getting okay with putting my ego aside to hire a coach again, which is so backwards, right? Like we grew up in sport and we're like, well, if I really wanted to be a champion, be the best that I could be, obviously I'm going to hire a coach. Like I can't do this by myself. But we live under this false impression, I think, in life post-sport a lot of times where it's like, oh, well, I want to be a self-made man. Like I'm going to do this all by myself. I don't need anyone's help. It's like that's not a great way to live life. Trust me.
In that same regard, because we run into this too, why do you think it is easier for someone to identify coaching with a sport than coaching with a business? You know, why do you think there's a separation there?
I think the coaching in the business side and the life coaching side, mindset side of things, it's not popularized and it's not talked about a lot. Whereas obviously we grew up watching sports, whether you played it or not. You can see on TV, like you see the coach giving feedback, you see the team coming together, there's an end goal in place, and there's fans around. Whereas now there's not that system in place. Like very rarely is someone sitting here and watching this podcast actually be recorded live. It's like, oh no, we're going to look at it afterwards. They don't fully understand what goes into recording a podcast and producing a podcast and putting it out there and actually getting eyeballs on it and listeners on it and then reviews. You know, it's a lot more than meets the eye, and we just haven't unveiled that curtain so much in these areas.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think for us too, I myself have a business coach, and I love to hear that you do too. And it's like, I just bring it up now in conversation. I'm like, yeah, business coach. Oh, you don't have one? Oh, that's interesting. Like almost like they're the one on the out. But there's so much value, and I'm speaking into what you do because there's so much value in having that type of person. Obviously you have other areas that you specifically can help with, and specifically in athletes and whatnot too. But yeah, I think anyone in life can use a coach, especially when you're getting started in a business
Absolutely.
or trying to figure out where you're at in life.
Yeah, they can act as this added co-pilot to you. You know what I mean? I think that's the value in it, right?
Yeah.
Like so many of us, the information is so abundant out there. We can Google how to start a business and probably come up with a general understanding. It's like
Right.
if you old days going to AAA and like buying that roadmap, and you're like, all right, cool. Like I know how to drive from LA to Dallas. Awesome. And I'm just going to use this paper map, and obviously the paper map doesn't update in real time. Whereas the value of having a co-pilot, having a coach is like, hey, that's another set of eyes. If I make a wrong turn, they're going to catch it as well.
Right.
And they're going to say, hey, Cory, like, that was great. You tried that, but you were supposed to stay on this course for
Right.
another 100 miles before making a turn. Like, let's get back on track. So you get real-time feedback rather than after the fact. I mean, nothing's worse, right, than going 5 years in during one direction and path, and then realizing, like, you pick your head up and you're like, holy crap, how did I
Yeah.
get here? This is not anywhere I wanted to be. That's the value that a coach has, is they can help you correct in real
Oh,
time.
that's good. My business coach literally told me, he goes, hey, my goal is to help you skip 10 years. And I'm like, yes, let's go.
Yeah.
Like that lines up for sure. Well, we love to just give a taste and give a snippet and like have you, come in and come out and people just to hear a little bit from you, Cory. So we're going to put all your information in the show notes below. If you're watching or you're listening, make sure you click the links and check out what Cory's doing in his business and how you can connect. If you're over on the West Coast and you want to do that live, and I know he's got other things that you can do virtually, but definitely join in with Cory. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
No, I think obviously went surface level with a lot of stuff, but yeah, if anything that I said today resonated with you, feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to connect with people.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining, and we always end it with a dance. So you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Let's do it. We got to get up from
Here
the
we
chair
go.
for this one. There we go.
There we go. He's standing up. There it is. I love it. I love it. It's time for the segment Maximizer. We sent our guest a list of growth items to pick from. Let's see what our guest picked this week to maximize on the show. All right, Cory, you chose for us to look at a lead generator. So this is something that you use as a landing page to create leads for your business. And I love that you chose this because a lot of people choose homepage, which we love to review their website as their homepage. But lead generator is what creates that first interaction, that piece to start interacting with them. And we still ask similar questions. We're going to ask ourselves, what is it? How it can help me? And what you want me to do? What action do you want me to take? So when we look at this webpage and we land on it, what is this? Well, I'm not quite sure. For me, I'm like, okay, a scorecard, am I downloading some sort of card? I'm not sure. Okay, if I start reading into it a little bit, you've kind of already lost me off of the bat because I'm not sure what it actually is. What am I going to be doing if I get this? Now, when we say, how can it help me? There are some great words you have in here that can start drawing me in. But what we want to stay away from, unless we're really being really specific on a certain audience, is any insider language, anything that we may not understand. So when I read post sport, I know that's that could be obviously your audience. And I do like the words that can be tricky to find metrics to focus on. But then it's like your life scorecard. What is this? What am I doing? How does that really help me? I'm not really seeing that unless I start scrolling down. You have some words there, which I'll look at in a second. And then what action you want me to take? Well, light up life scoreboard. Okay, what does that mean? What am I doing? Do you want me to do anything or just so we would say call them to action. What is it that they're actually going to do? We just need to keep it clear and simple. If I scroll down, you do have some good wording here that I like, but this is what we call more value proposition. You're kind of setting up the value that you can add. And I already know this because I downloaded and watched your first video and went through part of the card. I already know what you're doing. But this doesn't show a ton of value. There's a little bit in here, but I think we could really be specific on the value versus what's a part of it. So I know that there's going to be videos and there's going to be download content. Like people are probably used to that if they knew it was a course off the bat, right? So what I'm about to show you, Cory, is going to be what I basically just took an hour of time and threw some design together. So it doesn't look like something we'd probably want to throw out there, but it gives you an idea of what we're looking for, okay? This is, if it'll let me move it here. There we go, it's good enough here. Okay, I'm just gonna call it what it is. It's a life scorecard at the top, great. That's what it is, but most of the time, even company names, we don't understand what it is by that, which is fine. So then we go, okay, access free course. Oh, I know this is a course platform. Oh, okay, this is something that I'm very familiar with what that means. Everyone usually knows what a course means if that's online. And we throw in a statement that kind of adds a little value. And again, this is something you have to work through in messaging, and I've just thrown this together in the short time I've spent on it. But it shouldn't be hard to improve your overall life experience. And I agree with that. You know what? It shouldn't be hard to do that. Online course to track and improve the 9 core areas of your life. Okay, online course, there's 9 areas, improve my life, and it's free, access free course. Okay, cool. That seems like there's enough value there. The video on the right, to me, it didn't really say why I need to watch the video. So I just took some words from your course. Ready to grow in passion, energy, and confidence? Yeah, man, let's watch that. So that it's drawing them in to take some sort of action to actually watch the video. And as you get down, I took a lot of your words already, but I just made keep track, improve life experiences, take back control of your life, make those your value props of things that you can agree with, identify with, and then add little words there that can identify some of the things that you'll see and be a part of. Access free course, I took that little sentence and I kind of tweaked it a little bit. It can be tricky to find metrics to focus on when we no longer have the championship to win. The course is designed to help you identify the core areas say, I didn't even say it, didn't even type it right, to work on and gain more passion, energy, and confidence. So this to me, it's set up in a different way to kind of really make sure we're answering those 3 questions. What is it? How can it add value to me? And what do you want me to do? And that to me is what we've learned. That's what we've learned is really the piece that draws people in to take some sort of action, because that's what you want. You want leads. So we appreciate you giving us time to look at your lead generator.
Hey, James.
Hey, Jake. What's up, man?
So I am someone who actually likes taking on and trying new things. Cooking, I've always kind of enjoyed, but I'm not fantastic at it. I'm all right. What about you guys? Do you guys do a lot of cooking at your house?
We do a lot of cooking. I'm not great at learning, and we've really gotten into cooking even lately. But my wife is definitely the queen of the kitchen right now. I'm learning.
Nice. Well, I love good food, and can't always afford a chef, right?
Oh, gosh.
To come to your house. So you got to have some DIY options. So what do you think about DIY options?
Yeah, that's actually been what we've gotten into lately. Everything that kind of going to show us how to do it. So we've saved money on types of food and even getting different types of equipment and things that we need to do the food. And it makes it more fun doing it together. But not having to pay, or obviously we can't even afford to go out all the time, right? Especially with kids. So all about the DIY.
Yeah. So it's the same for your business. A lot of us try to DIY things, and that's okay, because there's a lot of great programs out there. And it just so happens we have a DIY that might work well for you. James, what's in this DIY that might help them?
So you may have heard of a sales funnel. Well, we've simplified that sales funnel for you. There's so many ways people try to communicate what a sales funnel truly is. And the most effective, powerful ones are the most simple. That if you just have a platform that sends emails that automates, and you've got a way to capture information by giving them some sort of resource That's all you need. And we walk you through steps to take a DIY sales funnel and generating leads for your business just from your websites and some landing pages. And it works. They really work. And they're not intruding. They're not sleazy. They're powerful. So go check out our DIY sales funnel. It's completely free. It's a course you can take. We have videos, we have downloads, worksheets, and resources for you to use, and you can do it today. So go check out DIY sales funnel.
Well, that's it for this episode. Thank you for joining the Clarity and Purpose Show. Wherever you are watching or listening, make sure you subscribe to the channel or podcast so you don't miss more growth frameworks from cause-driven leaders. We believe when a business leader aligns their team with their message, they become unstoppable.